towards the end of their rounds, and we're watching up the morning wave finish and get the afternoon wave started in our coverage. Back to the tee and Shibuno.
Yeah, what a start she's had here today so far. Really good start.
5 birdies so far for Hinako Shibuno.
In attack mode on this course.
Boy, they are full attack, aren't they? As we get you out to the 5th again.
Short hole this one, Shibuno's second.
Yeah, just 55 yards, trying to hit it just short and try to get it to spin.
Good week last week. Part of that group of Japanese players that went very well at the US Women's Open in Lancaster Country.
And the 9th hole is
Reachable par 5.
5. Just saying. 5.
Shibuno for birdie. Oh, that looked good for a long time. There have been 4 eagles at the 9th, by the way. Third hardest hole on the golf course, so that would be a very good 2 today. Let's go back to 6.
And Hinako Shibuno.
Yeah, she's a little shorter off the tee, and that's the driver. And it looks to be going up the left center. Should be fine.
Just left of the fairway at 6, Shibuno.
It's coming on 28 to that whole location out of the rough. This looks like a pretty good shot.
Okay. Out of position.
But she's crushed Imbi just now because Imbi had to wait a little bit before Imbi started to get on her roll.
Beat her by a couple of years. Here is Shibuno, the runner-up last week.
Yeah, you got to hit these with some speed, because if they lose the speed, they'll get offline.
Shibuno.
Yeah, I think the thing here is you just got to hit a solid shot, and you got to avoid missing it to the right.
Well, get away with that one, I think. By the hole and a putt down there, you could end up having a 3-putt. So that really just put it out of everybody's reach. I should correct myself on Ubon. That's 62 on the Epsom Tour was last May, not this May, but still, as you say, Karen, a turning point.
Yeah.
Once you shoot a low number like that, you know you can do it. Shibuno.
Yeah, this is easier. The 3 chips has to loft it just onto the green, let it release. It's definitely all 3 of those were the kinds you think you got to try to make.
A little heavy-handed, but should be a par there for Shibuno. Made a change to the shafts in her irons. Was making those tweaks right up until Wednesday of last week. Comfortable.
At the 8th, Hinako Shibuno.
Yeah, 93. Right out of that right rough. Decent line, but plenty of green to work with.
I think she judged that quite well. I mean, you can't be too frisky with going over the back of the green, and judging the release from the rough. Very good.
6 and 8. From the only been done once in LPGA history. A 59. Arpichaya Ubon is playing the par 5 9th. If she holds her short 3rd from in front of the green, she would do what only Annika Sorenstam has ever done. Grant Boone, Karen Stupples, Tom Abbott, Jim Gallagher Jr., and Jim is out there at the 8th watching Hinako Shibuno for birdie.
Yeah, she's got a really good idea. This is a slow putt. Just watch Hannah Green's putt from a very similar line.
Angle in from there.
And now Shibuno.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure she's got the length to get to her in 2, but you know, Karen, when you come off the greens so fast last week and you come to the greens a little bit slower, completely different golf course, what adjustments did you make, especially just on the greens? You know, like with a 61 out there is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. I really feel, Jim, that you have to take a lot of time, make sure that you've practiced your speeds, Do a lot of speed drills on the practice putting green and also in your practice rounds. That's going to be a layout. It's going to be a tough choice.
And now Shibuno has this for birdie.
Yeah, she's played a really solid round, and this putt ought to go to the back of the green, which is the left side. As we know, the front part of the screen goes all the way back, but this would be, it is a good round, but this would really kind of end it on a great note.
Worth noting, she was not playing well going into last week's U.S. Women's Open. She said she surprised herself with how well she played. Perhaps it's a bit of a reset for Shibuno as well.
Well, I think when you play at the US Women's Open and you go in there and the course is incredibly hard and you have no expectations, your mindset is completely different. You're kind of content with pars. You're not trying to push the limits too far.
Board here with a number of players looking for a first LPGA title. You've got players like Hinako Shibuno looking for another. Tom at the 13th.
Yeah, up the hill here for birdie. 8 under, but still going along very well indeed.
All right, Jim, you're watching this marquee group. It's a day that after what, 61 and a bunch of other low scores, the low score today is 67 so far.
Yeah, a lot big factor is the wind, and I think the greens are firming up a little bit, maybe a few tougher hole locations, but I think the wind's such a factor early on in the day, and it's still continuing to be that factor. Karen, we talked about this green. It's exposed down here with the wind. It's flat, but as you said yesterday, the second part of the back half of the green goes away, and this is a tough shot with this location. 11 steps on, 3 from the right, and then you've got the downwind. You probably got to try to land it just short, and if it doesn't kick forward, that's still better than going long.
Just you got to keep this a little bit left of it too. There's that whole sign left of the flags, probably a good line.
Yep, I agree.
Shibuno.
Yep, should go back to the back of the green if it goes.
Following up on that, she said, I'm talking about Steph Kiriakou. Karen, she said, I'm glad I'm making a lot of birdies. I'd rather it be that than just making a whole bunch of pars.
Well, more often than not, what makes you have a lot of birdies is an aggressive style of play, which then can bring
The reeds, you can't see them at all. But...
Probably, maybe best.
Is Shibuno here, Jim?
Yeah, it is 181 crosswind. I've seen a lot of players. I've watched this hole most of the morning. A lot of players missing it left. If you do that, it is a difficult up and down. So anything right of the hole would be a good solid shot. That starts on a good line.
Yeah, it's about the straightest ball flight we've seen today. And as we mentioned earlier, just so difficult to get it close. Now Shibuno for the birdie.
Yeah, Sasso's was amazing. Shibuno's putt ought to move right to left.
She gave it a good run.
Oh.
No, is it? The wind's blowing that way, but I think it's just not quite close enough. Oh, this was earlier today at the 12th, the highlight for Hinako Shibuno. Just keep a close eye on the golf ball. Boom. What a reaction.
Another of these slightly awkward, sometimes visually awkward tee shots, the 16th, and Shibuno.
Yeah, the tee lines are upright. You do not, or she does not want to flirt with that right side. There's too much of a penalty over there. Just somewhere up that left side, pick a spot out there as a safe play.
It's
That should be just fine.
And Jim is, I mean, you're so true, noting where that tee points you. That tee points you in those right bunkers.
You're waiting sometimes. Am I in or am I not in each week?
There's always an element of not knowing, and it's so nice to be able to set your schedule, get to a tournament site knowing that you're in the field and that you can play.
All right, Hinako Shibuno, good tee shot, 6 under, good position in the tournament.
Yeah, good position in the fairway. 139, hole locations on 18 steps. Probably needs to carry this 135, but if she goes about 5 or 6 steps past that, it goes off down into the valley, and that's a tough 2-putt from there. So back into the wind, you got to be really accurate at this shot. She's been pretty solid with this length of shot all day today.
Trickled in. It missed a bit right. Right. Shibuno's approach did trickle into the bunker. Sounded good.
Yeah, left it below the hole, so she'll have an uphill putt.
17.
Yeah, seemed to be some confusion there as to where that ball had finished, which
That's never good.
That's not good, especially with all this thick grass. I mean, you've got to have a sense of where the ball goes in. Shibuno.
Yeah, this hole's playing 114, as you know, but you don't see the wind moving the flag on the green. It's kind of blocked in by the grandstands there, but in the distance, the American flag's going right to left. And as players and caddies, they make that note as they get to this hole. They know which way the wind should be going. So maybe a little bit of a half a club more into this. Just do not want to be long.
I always found this tee shot, I was always in between clubs. Like, it was never a full end.
Back on the 17th green, where Shibuno has this for birdie. Yuka missed hers, Jim, so she looks like she's going to miss the cut. Let's see what Shibuno can do.
Yeah, it should be a little slider from left to right. Hannah Green will definitely be watching this because on a very similar line.
Oh, it just stayed left.
Doesn't go as much, but it may have pulled that a little.
Now, Shibuno much in this one, Jim?
There shouldn't be, but all the marshals are over here after she missed that putt. It doesn't go that far, but it's a tricky putt, but there's not much in this one.
Oh, no.
She shoved it through with a break.
Oh, I did not
Just
see
pounded
that.
it. Oh.
Valenzuela would be the final pair.
Yeah, at the moment they would be able to go in two. There's only 66 players. Shibuno for the bogey. She's going to drop back to 5 under, but you do have to take a lot of care around the hole.
Fun to watch her golf swing. Amazing short game too with her length. That's why she's so good in the majors.
Now Shibuno.
Yeah, let's see if she can shake off that bogey. That was kind of a sloppy bogey at the last hole. I always like to look at that bounce back stat. This would be a good bounce back. Make birdie here, finish on a good note, give her a chance for tomorrow. Should like that one as well.
And playing her golf on the Epsom Tour this year. Let's go to 18.
And the second for Shibuno.
Yeah, back into a little bit of a wind. Ball's a little below her feet. 244 total, 220 front. This is heading a little bit left.
Shibuno hit a good bunker shot at 16. Here's her third at 18. This one's a little longer. Took a great performance by Yuka to beat her. Jim, she was the only other player under par after 72 holes last week, Shibuno.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive around that golf course. It was such a brutal test. It was fair, but it was tough. And then to come here and keep competing and playing as well as she had. But this would be a nice way to finish after that mistake and that sloppy bogey at the last hole.
Good to see her back playing well again. She was down near 200th in the Rolex rankings, but moved up to 61st with that second place finish last week.